Good evening and welcome to round 6 of the Current Racing League's Division 1 Championship. And tonight, under the floodlights and the faded desert sun, we arrive at Formula One's most dramatic and dazzling stage, the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. This 5.2 kilometre, 16-turn circuit winds around the marina and hotel and sea of members as well, as it's been reshaped in recent years to produce faster, more flowing racing. 2 long straights with back-to-back DRS zones, technical braking zones into turn 5 and 6, and that sweeping reprofile turn 9 means drivers have more chances to overtake, because it used to be a chicane down there, and it's a track that demands rhythm control and a clinical execution as well, because tyre wear could also be quite high as well. As we finally arrive into the session, it is qualifying, 18 minutes here, and let's see, the drivers will have to try and get the best lap time they can in this qualified session. What will it be though? Is it going to be a 21, a high or low 21? I'm not quite sure what it is nowadays in Abu Dhabi, but we're about to find out which driver can set their best lap times. And we've got 15 drivers here tonight, so not the full turnout we expected. We are just 5 rounds remaining for this season, and this pressure is reaching its boiling point. At the top, it's Sweet Khan and his turn dominance into legacy with 3 wins under his belt and a perfect performance last time out at the Japanese Grand Prix. He's opened up a 54-point lead in the championship, sitting on 122 points. Cool and composed with the number 1 target on his back is the 3-time champion of Sweet Crown. But Bompier and Sweet Crown are not here, and his closest rival for tonight is Bosch Evans, the man who's sitting pretty in P2, but he's joined points actually with Bompier, so at least we'll get some more points this race with Bosch Evans if he finishes inside the top 12 ahead of Bompier to extend his gap and bring the margin down towards Sweet Crown too. But the chase is not done just yet, because Bosch Evans, fresh from a victory in Monza and a P2 at Suzuka, 2 podiums in a row, he has exploded into form and now tied for second in the standings with Bompier on 68 points each. Just behind him, Nathan JB sits 4th in 66, with Reservoir, Pease and Sieb all scraping for positions in a packed midfield that could flip and change any moment. But Sieb, Bompier are not here tonight. Neither is Jasper, neither is Mick, and a few others too that we're missing. And Sweet Crown too, the championship leader. Sweet Crown can afford to take a week off because he's got such a big gap, and plus I think the Dutchman is on holiday too, so that's why I don't think he is here tonight. Last time he raced at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, if you remember that race too, it was Bompier versus Jeroen Visser for the win. I believe they crossed the line at the exact same time, but the victory was given towards Jeroen Visser, because Bompier was still going for his first win after being denied in Brazil by me, after I did race in Brazil and stopped him for winning the Grand Prix. And also in Abu Dhabi he just missed out because we were destined to finish first, second and third, but I picked up a penalty and rage quit towards in the Grand Prix, and Sweet Crown got P3 away from me. The Reserve 5 dives in towards turn 5. This left-hander has been now head onto the straight once again with the DRS wide open. Onto the first of 2 back straights we go, and let's see how he takes the braking zone. It's a heavy braking zone, so very important for him to scrub off all the speed as he's down in towards second gear then. Not many people take second gear these days in F1, but it seems the Reserve 5 was comfortable to take that gear selection in towards the chicane as we exit turn 7 and turn 8. Now we're heading towards turn 9 we go, where we saw a few overtakes in the past. You can go side by side through here as well. We've got to be very careful on the outside because it's dirty, it's offline, not optimal, green, which means you'll find the rubbish out there too with the tyres not up to grip in that particular bottom section. Now we're headed down towards the third sector, the final sector, where it is quite slow and technical as well, so the tyres at this stage will be very hot, but it's all about managing the traction on the exits of the corner and hoping to get a good exit as well. Here he is towards the final corner, the 21st, and no, I can't remember how many corners this got. It is embarrassing because I haven't done much research, but it's a 22.681 there for Reservoir. It is turn 16, I think, the final corner, because turn 14 is where Latifi crashed back in 2021. Do you know what? I think I should get the map up instead of guessing, because obviously I need to be accurate. But Ronnie Stiffwood is up into P2 and somewhat 9/10 behind as well of Reservoir. Reservoir, who took pole at the Japanese Grand Prix after it was a one-shot qualifying, and his Irish teammate is up into P2 with a 22.803. And he's followed by Ferrari and the Haas behind as well. We've got the Aston Martin in the background too, looking to try and set a lap time. That's Farrell go for a lap time, it's up into P4 with Ronnie Stiffwood with a 23.524 is the Aston Martin driver. As elsewhere, we've got plenty of competition on the track. We've got Demors now making his way towards the final corner. He goes up into P5 with a 23.754. So only 2 drivers inside the 22s, but I believe it's going to change quite drastically qualified 2. As we see the rest of them then make their way towards the line. Bosch Evans, the final corner, he sits pretty in P2 as he goes up into P4 with a 23.1, as Harrison goes up into P3 in the McLaren with a 22.955 there. So 3 drivers inside the 22s as Harry Palmer's on the fringes. He's just gone up into P4 in the Alpine. As we see behind us as well, Tope, AJ Wuhan. Tope, I believe, he is fighting for the Division 2 championship, if I'm not mistaken. He is in the hunt. I'm not quite sure if he's the championship leader in the division right now, because things changed at the Japanese Grand Prix as well. So I think it could have been swindled a little bit as well. So I wonder if he's still leading. If he is, then we'll see how he does, because Division 2 had a race around here in Abu Dhabi, didn't they, on Monday, but I'm not quite sure how that went. So let's see if Tope is still there. Tope should have some good information heading towards this race if he did race on Monday, and he should have a bit of information on board and know the boundaries and limits on the track. As we've got Nathan now making his way towards the DRS line as he uses the battery all the way down the straight, but it is a long straight. You missed the lane here, so he converted to the inside, well, in the middle, then on towards, oh, Nathan's just smashed the 100 meter board there, so he's taken out the meter board, and some people who run no assist might be a bit annoyed with that one as well, such as Harry Palmer, Bosch Evans, I think. I don't want to name names just in case, because I'm not quite sure who does or does not run assists. As Nathan JP makes his way down in towards turn 9, he goes, as it was a 52 something in that middle sector, as he makes his way down in towards the corner where I think Narain Kartikeyan and Nico Rosberg made contact back in 2012. And Rosberg flipped over the top of Kartikeyan, caused that massive crash as well. Sebastian Vettel went from 20th to 3rd, as Nathan makes his way now towards the final corner. He goes, let's see what the Brit can do. He has been unlucky this season. He's got a tendency to lose his front wing all the time. It's a 23.037, which pops him up into P5, just shy of a few hundreds away from Harry Palmer there, as both kick Saab as a first and second still. It looked like Harrison's gone for another lap there on the soft compound tyres. He has. So that's his second competitive lap time on the soft compound tyres. It is as well. The soft compound tyres is known for wearing out very, very quickly as well, just graining and graining. But Harrison, no, is still up. And I believe Harrison's got some really good pace as well, because he has been a contender. But at the last race, the Monza Grand Prix for him, as he has a bit of a twitch, and he validates 2 on the exit there. So we're just talking about it, but the tyres plainly just ran out of grip as a couple laps old as well. So not the peak performance he would have wanted as he heads back in the pit lane there. As Isak Kush goes up into P6 in the Red Bull 2. He had a difficult race back at the Japanese Grand Prix. But in Japan, we haven't even talked about it just yet, but it was so good as well, as we had a mixture of strategies with a safety car coming out, benefiting few and disadvantage others. But in Japan, we witnessed one of the closest finishes of this season. The top 5 separated by 1.3 seconds. It was a tactical and test the nerves and a display of how tight the margins are of CRL. Sweet Crown held off the pressure from Bosch Evans, was within touching distance, and RT Reservoir delivered one of his strongest drives yet to complete the podium in CRL. I think he's got a podium back in Silverstone. He missed out at the Dutch GP due to spinning, missed out at Bahrain due to a 2-stop. AJ makes his way towards the line, but I think he just bats off there, and he's going to go for it again on those set of soft compound tyres. P's retired at the Japanese Grand Prix. I'm not quite sure if he's being sarcastic, but he said he had a phone call to make. But let's see how he could do it, because when P's drives for real, because we know that P's doesn't really take the game too seriously, just having a bit of fun. But when he does take it a bit seriously, when he does put the practice in, he can be very quick, as we've seen as well. I've raced against him since, 2019. I've known him for a long time. We don't really talk that much these days, but I definitely know what his pace is like, and it's still relatively quick as well if he bothers and cares and puts the practice in, as he makes his way through the double left-hander through turn 13 and 14. We go coming towards the final couple of corners now of this racetrack, keeping it within the white lines on the exit. Here we go. It's P8 for P's with a 23.211. So Most drivers are in that territory of the 23s, and Cross Liam retired in the pit lane. We were talking about, I think, P's at the time at the Japanese Grand Prix, but I missed Cross Liam spinning and hitting the wall in the pit lane too. So both of them retired in the pit lane on the same lap, but due to different circumstances, as Cross Liam, unfortunately for him, lost his wheel. What's Mercedes doing down at turn 5? Is that P's? I think he went off the track there, but back on board with the Red Bull driver. Cross Liam has been around CRL for quite a long time. He's been in and out as well, or CRL, just like a few others have been as well. We're just waiting for Mark's arrival here as well, because he was promised to be racing the CRL since the beginning of the season. And before the season started, he was joining the CRL parties, but unfortunately just never ever showed up to a race. So I'm not quite sure what his plans and intentions are, but we really hope we can see Relentless Mark back as Cross Liam comes towards the line and stays in P15. Now, one of the kick salvers in second place there, which is ILT Leroy, is headed down in towards turn 1, taking a very wide angle. Look at that. He takes a lot of cover in the exit, back in the power he goes, using the battery as well through turn 2. He's maximising every single part of the racetrack, utilising every single curve as well, riding it to his perfection, coming towards the end of the first sector, 17.2 as he dives in towards turn 5, just not hits the apex accurately as he would have wanted to, not being, well, he missed the apex, but still he didn't really connect with it or hit it. But here he is coming down in towards turn 6, missing lane as we stick towards the right side, braking hard on the brakes there in towards second gear. He's also another driver who uses second gear, unlike Recify, who short shifted towards third. He stayed in second gear. Now DRS wide open towards this second long straight as he heads towards the end of this middle sector. It's going to be a 51.9, 3/10 up is Leroy. What a lap time so far from the Irishman. Can he keep it nice and tidy is the question. Heading towards this final segment of the racetrack, the third sector, where things could go wrong easily. A bit, oh, it's lag. Just a little bit of lag. Hopefully it doesn't go wrong here. But it seems like it's a very nice and tidy lap time. Tope goes up into P3. The Haas, 2,000 shy of Leroy, but Leroy's about to extend his margin. Leroy goes up into first place. It's a 22.480. That's a staggering lap time. Here comes Rectify to replace him back towards the top. It's a 22.447. So both kick salvers are close together in battle for pole position. Interesting stuff there for both of them, as like it has been all season, they have been neck and neck, glued together for the whole season. As we can see Diddy in the chat saying it's nice to see a couple of kick salvers at the top of the field. It does indeed. It does indeed. There's Demors up into P12 there in the McLaren, but nobody so far is matching first and second place as we watch Darby heading towards turn 5. He goes and using all the track on the outside too, as much as he can get away with. Isak Kush goes up into P5 with a 22.982. And Nathan goes up into P3 now with a 22.5, so that's a decent competitive lap time there for Nathan. Can Nathan's look changed? He won at the British GP. Darwin goes a bit deep in towards the corner, compromised in towards turn 7. But can Nathan finally catch a break? Sorry about that. Can finally catch a break and get the results he needs. He is quick, but unfortunately gets caught up in some difficult situations he's been in this season, like losing his wing multiple times as well. Just unorthodox as well is Nathan. You just don't know what's going to happen to him. It's like an unpredictable driver sometimes. You just don't know what's going to happen. But when he does piece together, he's very quick. We saw the British GP this season too. We saw him in other Grand Prix, where last season in Qatar, I think, when he won the Grand Prix. Yeah, he can be very quick. He's a multiple race winner for a reason. He's a runner-up in the championship in previous seasons before as well. He's been around CRL, well, obviously, but he's been around CRL since the beginning. He's been around other leagues too. He's a PSG 5 driver. He's in ILT esports as well, so expect a lot from him. However, first place Reservoir is in ILT. Leroy is not in ILT. He just has the abbreviation at the start of his name. So it's a bit of a lull in qualifying so far, as most drivers have completed their second runs in qualifying here as well. I wonder how many sets of softs they got, because what are they going to do in terms of strategy? Are they going to put it towards the hard strategy, which means you get 2 sets of softs, 2 sets of mediums, and 2 sets of hards, or keep it balanced? Because balance is the way I go, but of course in the old games, I was brave enough to put it on harder because harder is a good strategy. You get 2 sets of meds, you get 2 sets of hards, you got loads of cards up your sleeve, and when safety card comes out, it can be very, 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 very reliable indeed to have those sets of tires in disposal as well. It can work for your strategy. But Roddy Stiffboard then coming towards the end of the first sector, and he's 100th down there, heading towards turn 5. The car rotated very nicely. Nathan says, "Good luck, Jamie." "Thank you, mate. Good luck to you too. And I really hope you get the result you need." But my outlier so far has been Tope in P4, the Division 2 driver, the Division 2 championship contender, it must be said. So he's been looking very strong so far. There is 3 minutes left to go in qualifying here, so only a limited amount of time left for these drivers to try and get the best lap times in around a difficult track like this. But still got plenty, still got time to do something about it, of course. As it's a clear tire. Roddy Stiffboard's got off the track there at turn 9, and he goes all the way around the outside, does not invalidate there as well. So the game not registering that as an invalidation. He continues with his lap time, is Roddy Stiffboard, as he's a driver who scored his first points of the season back in Japan, and misfortunes back at the British GP when he got taken out by Dari, as Roddy heads back in the pit lane there. So Harry Palmer is circulating on the track, so let's see how he gets on there in the Alpine as he heads through turn 5. Improvement in the first sector, as now he has the DRS wide open on that Alpine car, heading all the way down the straight. And let's see then how he does in turn 6 and turn 7 then. Hitting the 100-meter board, or hits the brakes there, into towards second gear. Clipping the apex very nicely, kisses it, as you can see there, a little bit of rear movement out of turn 6 in towards turn 7. Back in the power once again, DRS wide open for the RP driver as he heads down in towards turn 9. He goes. Let's see his middle sector. Not bad, 2 tenths up. This could put him into P4 just ahead of Tope, but it all depends though. How much time can the Alpine driver find in this last sector, and also keeping Aston tidy too. Both kick salvers are dawdling on the circuit, as look at Harry Palmer there, just literally power sliding out of the slow speed corner. Don't know what corner that is, but here he is towards the final couple of corners. Of course, the penultimate corner has been remodified as Crossley's gone up into P10. Here comes Palmer. Palmer goes up into P6. So Palmer did that moment out of the corner there, which he had a bit of a slide, cost him dearly because he was 2 tenths up in the middle sector, but lost it in the final sector too. So that middle sector there has that third sector has really cost him, unfortunately. Only P6 for him for the time being. And this man in P2, the championship, is on the flying lap. Bosch Evans out turn 6 and turn 7 as he powers down the second back straight. And let's see how he does on his second lap. Leroy is coming in the flying lap so far. It's his final chance in qualifying. Bosch Evans, however, is 3 tenths up in this middle sector. Can he keep it nice and tidy? Just on the verge of a trying to miss there as he heads down now in towards the slow speed corners. Slow it down, making sure you don't drift out as well. Lose them up through the car, which is so easy to do as well. Just balancing the throttle there. Oh my goodness me. Bosch Evans there will be so frustrated. It's an invalidation as well. And he's just on the cusp of challenge, but unfortunately just a bit too wide as he hits the wall and out of qualifying. Didn't Latifi spin there? And Vettel too. Did Sebastian Vettel spin there? I can't remember, but Latifi definitely did. Was it Mick Schumacher who spun there too? I'm not quite sure. We don't really see many spins in the final corner these days in F1, but Verstappen always spun out of the final corner one time. Was it last year in qualifying when Max Verstappen almost spun out of the final corner when he had that difficult Red Bull car to handle? But however, on board with Leroy, he's down in the middle sector, so can he make it back up in this tricky final sector where the tyres will be screaming hot? How much more can Leroy find? How much more time can Leroy find? How hard will he push? Because you want to try and push as hard as you can, but sometimes you could overdo it too, knowing it's your final chance to qualify. And here he is towards the final corner. Didn't get the best run, and he validates too. This would have been not pole, unfortunately for him. He's still down, but Reservoir is about to make his way towards the line, and he improves by 1/10 of a second. Great lap time. Verol's crashed under the hotels, unfortunately, as Harrison's gone up into P2. He has split both Saubers. Great lap time there for Harrison. Nathan JB, however, what is he doing? Let's see his final sector, or middle sector, shall I say. He's up slightly by 0.05 of a second there, so maybe towards Leroy he could get, or maybe Harrison, but I don't think Reservoir could be there either. Nathan has got a bit of traffic in front of him, McLaren and a Haas, but hopefully they're nowhere to be seen or distract him as dirty air can be a major issue around it. Oh, Nathan taking too much cover in the entry, and he has a massive wiggle on as well. As who's got up the order? I think it's Dhabi P5, AJ P5 now, as Nathan's there is frustrated and he slides off the final corner. Interesting qualifying, and I think that concludes it. Rectify is on pole ahead of Harrison in P2, Leroy's in P3, and Sauber once again looking very strong this season, like in actual F1 with Gabriel Bortoletto and Nico Hulkenberg. But this should be an interesting race now that it's super close towards the top end of the field. DRS, of course, will play a massive factor in the Grand Prix. They are your results for the race, and this should be an interesting race here in Abu Dhabi. Let's see what happens in the 29-lap race, I think it is. It is 29-lap race. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the race and we'll see what happens around here at the 29-lap race at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, which is usually the final race of the season in F1 nowadays. Unfortunately, it was first introduced back in 2009, and I do believe Sebastian Vettel won on that day too. And in 2010, we saw what happened in 2010 when 5 drivers were fighting for the World Championship that year too, with Mark Webber, Sebastian Vettel, Fernando Alonso, and both McLarens. But in the end, it was Sebastian Vettel who won and clinched the title, as he became the youngest F1 champion at that time as well. So, yeah, incredible times there for Red Bull and Sebastian Vettel. Fernando Alonso got hold up by Vitaly Petrov as well. Couldn't get past him. Had no DRS, of course. DRS wasn't introduced back in 2010. It was a year later. So Alonso would dearly love to have DRS to get past him, but unfortunately for him, could not do so on that day. In 2011, Sebastian Vettel was on a winning streak, but unfortunately lost it because in that race he got a puncture in towards turn 1. He took pole, then out of the race immediately towards turn 1, just had a puncture for some bizarre unknown reason. And I think it was Hamilton who won on that day. I can't remember. He retired a year later due to a gearbox failure. But the race is about to get going then. Let's see what happens down in towards turn 1. And we are underway for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix for round 6 here at CRL for Division 1. And so far, Rectify gets a decent start off the line as we head down in towards 1. Sauber and McLaren side by side. That's Leroy all the way around the outside in towards 1. As we head through 2, they still remain wheel to wheel. But Leroy there just getting squeezed wide. But he has the inside line going in towards turn 3 and turn 4. Harrison's still on the inside as we head down towards the breaker zone. And look at Harrison going up the inside in towards 5 there. Goes a bit deep in the corner as they're still wheel to wheel. They probably want to end their battle right now because they're losing time towards Reservoir. This squabble has cost him. Harrison settles into P3, so it's a kick Sauber 1-2 with Nathan JB just behind us as well as we head down in towards 6 and turn 7 we go. A few people in the background jostling for position as we see the Ferrari up the inside there, getting so close towards the back of the house. Harry Palmer is up into P8 there ahead of Bosch Evans we go as we exit turn 6 and turn 7 we go now. So great start from Leroy. Hung it around the outside, had the outside line going towards turn 5, better traction, and got ahead of Harrison as well. So Harrison unfortunately couldn't split. But could this be consequential for the race? Because now this battle has cost him dearly, and Rectify is able to pull away. And once you break that DRS gap, you clear of any threats behind as well. As Bosch Evans gets ahead of Harry Palmer, sorry. That was a bit of a confusing thing to say there. But Bosch Evans now is ahead of Palmer as the Ferrari driver puts himself back into P8. So Palmer must have made a mistake somewhere on that particular part of the section. But Rectify now sets the first of the Grand Prix. Does Leroy has the gap? Leroy It's actually closing in on Reservoir. The gap is 1.1 seconds then. So does Leroy have the pure pace to try and get him? Otherwise, they might have to trade DRS. There's another option here to get yourself back in DRS. You swap places, second and third place, or whoever you are, whatever place you are, if you want to go to get the guy ahead of you without the DRS. They swap places, get the DRS, and get yourself back in the DRS trade. But Leroy's just out of it. Maybe just a few more punches there. Maybe trying to use the battery as well. Try and get himself back in the DRS range. Let's see if he can do it or not. It's absolutely essential now that Leroy gets himself back in DRS. If not, you can have a DRS trade behind him and therefore can't defend. As we see, Bosch Evans there fighting with the Haas of Taupe, who had a decent qualifying. Leroy is in DRS range then of Reservoir, so he's able to keep in contention, but he did not get in DRS range on this lap then, so he suffers without it. Maybe used a lot of battery as well in the process to try and get himself closer towards his teammate there in P1, but Harris is still close behind. Isak Kush 2 Ps in P6 there, all in that 1B DRS train. Let's see what tyres people have gone for. So everybody in the top 10 on the medical power tyres, and also 2 people on the hards, Dari and Ronnie Stiffwood. As Reservoir leads the Grand Prix, the gap is 1 second there, but you can see Harrison is right behind too, closing on Leroy. Leroy's trying everything he can to get himself in DRS range. Maybe the best bet for him, well, he's in DRS range right now, but if he gets out of it, maybe let Harrison go and get the DRS, and let Harrison get the DRS on the back of Reservoir to catch him and bring the train back together. But he's actually done it, so fair play to Leroy there. Or has he? The gap's gone up to 1.1. You can see he's really pushing hard. Both kick salvers are pushing hard there to try and get inside or stay away from the DRS. But Leroy's done it, so great job there from Leroy to get himself in DRS, and that'll pay dividends later on now. So the battery he's lost trying to get himself in that DRS range, he can be able to save now as he has the DRS wide open and recharge the battery after using a lot of it. Palmer, oh, what's going on down here as well? Was that a bird I just saw fly across the, what was that? I swear I saw a bird when I went to board with the RP driver. I must be losing my mind, but let me go aboard to see if that was a bird or not. That was Harrison, no, so that was Demors on the back across the end there. Something just spun my head. I'm not quite sure what I saw going down towards turn 6 and turn 7. Well, it could have been nothing. Let me have a look to see. I'm re-riding on board with Palmer to see. No, it was a cone. It was a cone flying off there. My bad. I thought something flew across the sky, but it wasn't any. It wasn't a bird. It was a cone, or a bollard. Sorry. Lap 4's ended. It is still Reservoir who leads the Grand Prix, but he finds himself a huge gaggle of cars right behind him as well. Power steering, wait to take away his first place. Leroy, his teammates in P2. So let's see what Sauber do. Will they attack each other in the early stage of the Grand Prix? Will they play the team game about being in first and second? And who's that as well going out wide? Harry Palmer's been shuffled into P12 whilst I was distracted by the cone there. So he's been pushed backwards as the RP driver. He finished a relatively good P4 back at the Japanese Grand Prix. But here in Abu Dhabi seems to be struggling just a bit as well. The rear in the car just complaining as the Red Bull driver is breaking the DRS there from the McLaren behind, but the McLaren might get him easily. That is Demors versus Costliam. Demors is up into P7 or P8, shall I say, ahead of the Red Bull driver as we head down in towards the breaker zone. Two Hasses or Taupe and AJ there in close contention of each other too. Actually, Taupe gets a much better exit, a good decent launch away as well. Let's see if he gets the Alpine as we head down towards the back straight once again. Here he is, DRS open, side by side with the Red Bull driver as we head down in towards turn 9 he goes. Oh, he goes a bit deep, does have the grip there. And unfortunately the car just washes away from him. Crossliam is able to stay in P9 and ahead of the Haas band for the time being, as AJ Wuhan is under pressure from Harry Palmer too, just behind him there. Harry Palmer, however, has got a 3-second time penalty, so I didn't quite see when he got it, but unfortunately he has, and that'll be huge towards in the Grand Prix too. Of course, track limits is a major factor around here too. It is so easy. The exit at turn 14 as well. That corner caught me out last year. I was in a podium paid position last year in CRL. Yes, I was driving, not commentating for once, and I rage quit because on the last lap of the Grand Prix, my tyres were just too old. I did a massive undercut as well around here. Back when it was a one-stop strategy. Crossliam spun. Oh, goodness me, Crossliam. He's fallen backwards into 14 players, and here comes the Williams up the inside. So he's stiff under the hardcore power tyres. He's up the inside of AJ Wuhan. He puts himself into P11. So decent recovery drive so far from Ronnie. Up into 11th place. Next target is Harry Palmer. And it looks like everybody is playing the long game here as well. Look at these guys getting so close on the back of each other. Ronnie Stiffwood is up into P10. Harry Palmer's been demoted back into P12. So AJ now gets ahead of the Alpine driver. So back where he was originally, as you can see, really struggling there as well, is Harry Palmer. Chicago Medicine on the sponsor of the Haas there. As the DRS once again is wide open. And Williams doesn't have it, so he may be compromised going it down in towards turn 9. But the Williams just stays ahead as well for the time being. That's what I like about the circuit. Although in real life it may not be as great racing because obviously the dirty air, the hot weather around here being a desert too, and the width of the cars being too big, the aerodynamics as well, the tyres, the engine getting hot. It's just, this track can be good for racing sometimes at turn 6 and turn 7, because if you don't get the move done in towards 6 and 7, you've always got turn 8 and turn 9. Turn 8 being the little left kinked on the inside there, which is not really a corner, just like Austria. Then turn 9 in towards that hairpin, not hairpin, the left-hander. I'm glad they modified the track as well. They modified this bit, they got rid of the chicane. Remember when Schumacher spun as he made contact with Nico Rosberg back in 2010? As the Haas spun, that's AJ Wuhan, and that's where Charles Leclerc went off as well a couple of years ago in the Ferrari. But I think it was 2010 because, was it Antonio Liuzzi he made contact with? It wasn't Adrian Suter, it was Liuzzi, I think. And Adrian Suter, Liuzzi just went straight into him. Luckily, both drivers were okay on that occasion too, as they made it out unscathed. Big contact, but luckily nothing else happened during that race. Although, yeah, it was a championship by that race as well, because we saw that Alonso, Button, Hamilton, Webber going at it as well for the championship. Such a good race that I do miss those times. And Sebastian Vettel being the youngest driver of the championship as well. We all remember the famous line, "Du bist Worldmeister," as Rocky was his engineer as well. Funnily enough, Rocky stopped being an engineer after Sebastian Vettel. He was a race engineer as well, wasn't he? But a year later, I think it was, who was it? Was it Gianpiero Lambiase who went on to engineer Danny Kvyat? I would have loved to see what he would have done with, Rocky could have done with Verstappen and Kvyat, because I'm not quite sure why Rocky got replaced for some reason. Or AJ is struggling once again, spinning out there at turn number 14, I think it is. As we head down towards turn 5 we go with the 2 kicks out. But I think Leroy on this occasion is a little bit more comfortable as he was previous laps ago, because he was fighting for his life to get himself back in DRS. AJ is retired in the pit lane. He is out of the Grand Prix, but Leroy was fighting very hard to get himself back in the DRS. He was pushing for the limits as well. And here comes the Alpine up the inside. That's an optimistic move. Unless he can make it stick, he can't. Harrison just stays ahead of Nathan for the time being. Nathan is sick and tired of being on the DRS train. He wants to move forwards. He wants to progress forward. Sometimes drivers might force an orthodox move up the inside, but unfortunately for Nathan on that occasion, just couldn't make it work. At least it was a nice clean move for Nathan JB. Could have gone straight to the side for the Harrison as well, because it was such a late move, but he kept it under control, but couldn't make it stick. So maybe next time for Nathan JB, because I know some drivers will be frustrated in this DRS train. We've seen it plenty of occasions as well. I saw it in 2024 where a lot of people were each of this DRS train trying to move forwards as well. Plus, it's such a heavy braking zone going down towards turn 6 and turn 7, as contact can be easy made. And Bosch Evans is in the pit lane, and he gets a 3-second time penalty. It must be that stupid glitch again. It's an absolute stupid glitch. It happened last season too on F1 24, because I commentated and somebody picked a penalty on that curb. I don't know why that happens, but look at Leroy just struggling to stay within DRS range of reservoirs. We head down towards turn 5 once again. Nathan JB struggling a bit on the brakes there in towards 5, but Leroy has lost the DRS then. So is he starting to struggle on the medium power tyres? Because at this stage of the Grand Prix, mediums are a killer, of course. Being in the dirty of the driver behind you, in front of you, is also going to take a bit of tyre lap as well and raise the tyre temperatures. But Bosch Evans rejoins the P12 on a new set of hardcore power tyres there. So is it a 2-stop? Is he going towards in the Grand Prix? I'm not quite sure. 21 laps on the hardcore power tyres. Well, last game I would have said it was possible, but this game I don't know. I really don't know, to be honest with you. I haven't done much information about tyres on this game, so it could do it. It depends how good the tyre management is as well. But the problem is, though, yes, the undercut's so powerful, but the tyre offset towards the end of the Grand Prix, because will these guys respond? Oh, contact between Farrell and Harry Palmer. Getting all feisty down there in towards turn number 9. And let's see if Harry Palmer gets ahead of Farrell as they go side by side. More contact and more barge between those two, as Palmer's desperate as he gets shoved on the track there. And now Palmer is up. Finally up into P10, but not yet though, because Farrell's right there. But are they about to go in the wall together? I'm not quite sure. You don't know with Farrell. He's a bit of a known factor here as well, as Harry Palmer goes off the track, as Palmer goes back down the inside, make contact, more contact, and he spins him as well, and he's finally out of the way. Yep, lost their heads there a bit as well. They lost their minds, dear Palmer and Farrell. I can imagine a bit of a swearing in the chat later on in the Grand Prix. But let's see what's going to happen, because Bosch Evans, let's see, did he get ahead of those guys who pitted after him? I don't think so, no. He did not, actually. So despite being on new tyres, he did not get ahead of Isa Kush. The undercut is quite powerful around here, but for some reason, Bosch Evans couldn't get him. So Isa Kush gets ahead with better tyres. He's up into P10 immediately ahead of Farrell. He does make it difficult. And here comes Bosch Evans as well. Oh, contact there between Bosch and Farrell as we head down towards turn 6 and turn 7. Farrell is going to fight it as hard as he can around the outside, but that fight is easy. Yeah, there was no way Farrell could have defended that, because he's on the old mini compound tyres. But he'll try his best. He'll never ever give up, despite he could have 2 hands tied behind his back, and he'll still fight all the way through. So interestingly, Leroy's pitted first, the 2 kick salvers. So usually it's the driver in front who gets the first priority call to decide when to pit. So Leroy has been given it. Maybe he's been struggling more on his tyres in comparison towards Reservoir too. Pad is a bit difficult on this game, and somebody has gone for a spin down there. Is that Harry Palmer in the final corner in the Alpine? He's back in the pit lane. No, his first pit stop, isn't it? Yeah, first pit stop. So who was that who caused a caution down there in towards the final corner? I'm not quite sure who it was, but bizarre strategy from Palmer. I rate it, but not the right one, of course. These are the brand new set of soft compound tyres. They were new because they were shining. As who spun? And somebody has caused a safety car, have they? Or is it virtual? Was that Isa Kush? Or no, it was Liam, sorry. It was Liam who's caused that VSC. No safety car has been deployed on this occasion, but as you can see, he's lost his wing. How on earth has he done that on the straight? He must be special to do that, and Costium is definitely special. But I'm not quite sure how he's done it. Unless he made contact with somebody, I'm not quite sure. But no safety car has been deployed because there'll be a yellow car on the map. So does this mean Reservoir, Nathan and Pease could dive in the pit lane? Because the VSC, you minimise your race time by pitting and losing about 14 seconds or 11 seconds instead of 22 or something like that. And they are pitting. It's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer to pit on this lap. And that's a massive shame for those people who have pitted. This VSC, unfortunately for those guys behind us, has really cost them as well. And Pease is staying out, which is very, very interesting indeed. So let's see what he decides to get up to. In comes the kick salver on a brand new set of hard compound tyres. In comes Nathan, and in comes Tope as well. The Reservoir gets held up a little bit by a bit of a lag spike there as he gets back on the track. So let's see what happens now. And this VSC has ended the perfect time. It could have gone better for Reservoir. It really couldn't. He's up into P3 now, and this should be his race. And Nathan has rejoined in P4. Where is he? 2.3 seconds behind, and McLaren Harrison is right behind him too. It's benefited Nathan, but look at Leroy. He must be so devastated because look how far back he is. He has lost so much time. He was right behind him before the pit stop happened, but that VSC has bought Reservoir a lot of time. And here comes Harrison then, puts the pressure on Nathan immediately as he puts himself up into P4 ahead of the Alpine driver. But Leroy has gone for a 2-stop strategy, which is very interesting indeed, it must be said. So this could be an Abu Dhabi type situation here, where he did a 2-stop, and it really cost him the race too. As Reservoir gets ahead of Ronnie Stiffwood, up into P2 he goes. Very important for him to clear the traffic, and the next guy ahead of him is the race leader of Relentless Pease. The gap is 6.2 seconds, but he should bring that gap down at a rate of knots too, and overtake him with ease. But yeah, Leroy, we've seen in the past that a two-stop is not the way to go, but sometimes the drivers can't help it because tyre wear on the pad especially is an absolute killer. It's all about managing in the first stint, really treating your tyres nicely, not taking too much life out of them. Of course, you've got the high-speed corners where it takes a lot of load and a lot of force on your tyres as well, plus the dirty air, which doesn't help, the understeer too, so it can be difficult to save tyres in the first stint. It's just about, I don't know how you do it on the pad, but on the wheel it's a little bit easy for some reason. I noticed it back in Spain when I had to do a two-stop strategy. Me and Nathan in Spain started on the hardcore power tyres, but on lap 17, my tyres were about 72% and his tyres were about 57%, and we're both on the hardcore power tyres. Plus, I was managing in the first stint. I wasn't pushing, I was sticking in Nathan's DRS train. It was a big DRS train from first down to 8th, where I was at the time. Leroy gets ahead of Issa Kush for P6 there, ahead of the Red Bull driver who's looking to go to the end of the Grand Prix. Leroy is looking for another pit stop for sure in this race. What Leroy needs to do right now is absolutely push the shit out of that car right now and push the absolute limit as well. He can't afford to hang around and stick around. He needs to go right now. He needs to push as hard as he can. That's what two-stop is all about. Two-stop flat out all the way through the race. You'd be hoping under the safety car. The only way this race can be saved for Leroy is that a safety car comes out in the next few laps. Otherwise, his strategy has been thrown in the bin. Look at this. That's McLaren on the inside, or trying to, but of course, it's not a place to overtake. Williams holding up Harrison and Nathan JB. This could bring Leroy into play as well. And Pease is in the pit lane as well to get rid of these mini compound tyres. So here we go, Harrison out the final corner. When he go down the inside in towards turn 1, he's going to take the risk in towards the first corner. He is going down the inside in towards turn 1. He goes side by side as Ronnie Stiffboard has been forced off the track there. No room on the outside. And here comes Nathan JB. Got to be very careful too, as Nathan JB and Harry Palmer spun on the soft compound tyres. Here comes Nathan side by side with the Williams as we head in towards 5 we go. And Ronnie Stiffboard backs out of it, knowing that there's no point fighting that because the inevitable will happen. With the DRS wide open, then Nathan can set up by his sides. And in the background, there is Leroy right behind too, with the DRS on the Williams in front of him, or behind him, shall I say. And Nathan is about to take away P2 away from McLaren driver. And here comes Leroy on the inside as well, in towards turn 6 and turn 7. All contact there, not a lot of room given. But luckily, Ronnie Stiffboard is pointing in the right direction. Here comes the Red Bull driver of Issa Kush around the outside as well. And Harrison is right behind Nathan once again. When he go for the move in towards turn 9, he doesn't. But Leroy is right there. Leroy has to get past. He may get caught up in this bottom. He may get stuck there as well because there's not much of a big difference between the hards and mediums in terms of overall pace is what I meant. Obviously, there's a big difference in terms of wear of the hardcore power tyres is more durable. The mediums, however, the mid-range tyres. At this point, I think the hardcore power tyres may be already better than the medium power tyres. But yeah, Leroy once again is in a big predicament in P4, knowing he's got to pit again, knowing that in his third stint on the hardcore power tyres, he's got to catch up. I don't think he'll pit the softcore power tyres because that'd be a ludicrous strategy, being soft right here at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. He's going to lose so much time anyway by doing a second stop. Plus the softcore power tyres towards the end is a bit of a stretch. So Leroy is a bit of no man's land so far on P4. Just like in Bahrain with both kick Saabers, but one of them is on the right strategy, the other one isn't. Bosch Evans is fighting Ronnie in towards turn 5, it's up into P6. Bosch Evans, however, hasn't made his strategy work at all ever since he came in the pit lane. He was one of the first people to pit, he was in the DRS train in the first stint, but just dropped backwards since then. Of course, he had to fight with Farrell and the rest of them too. We're almost halfway in towards this race, and so far, your leader is Reservoir. It was back in the British GP, it was first and second between Reservoir and Nathan, but Reservoir is first this time, and Nathan's third because he's just been overtaken by Harrison, who goes up into P2 right now. Leroy's right behind too. Leroy is definitely going to pit because, one, he started the mini compound tyre, so that means he's definitely going to choose a different tyre compound, and two, the tyres will not make it towards the end of the Grand Prix. So yeah, Leroy there in P4 has really blown his strategy out for him, unfortunately. Not quite sure if he knew the strategy, but he was hoping for maybe the only thing that could save his race right now is a safety car. I don't think he has the pure pace to come back to the field once he puts on a new set of hardcore power tyres. Two-stop was the way to go, was it in 2020? In previous games, I don't think it was it last year? as two-stop was possible? I'm not quite sure, actually. Depends when you pitted. It's odd, this track as well, because sometimes two-stop might work. Depends how quick you are as well. But it depends as well if you get stuck in a train. If you're not able to, if you're going to do a two-stop strategy, you need to be blisteringly quick. You need to pull out a gap immediately and build that gap up as much as you can before you pit. But Leroy is not doing that. As you can see, he's stuck in the DRS train. He's stranded in P4, not able to move anywhere, and stuck behind the Alpine and McLaren driver. So his race there, unfortunately for him, has been compromised. I thought for him, for 1 second, another podium on the cards would happen for Leroy, but I don't think the podium chances will be likely. Still, anything could happen in the Grand Prix with a virtual or a safety car, but we'll see if anything changes in this Grand Prix, if it stays as the way it is so far. Nobody is beating Reservoir. This is Reservoir's race to win, and nothing could go wrong for Reservoir, unless, of course, something may happen to him with a penalty. But even with a penalty, he's still got that gap over 3 seconds. So comfortable as you could be for Reservoir. As long as he doesn't do anything stupid, he should be okay. And as long as no safety cars come out either. Bosch Evans there in the final corner, just sliding out of the final corner as we head through lap 16 out of 29. 13 laps left to go in this race, and somebody has spun once again. It is Harry Palmer, and those soft power tyres maybe past their best and their limits now. So a pit stop might be imminent there for Harry Palmer. You can see him really struggling as the car is constantly complaining too. But tyre life, as we know in this game, is an absolute killer, unfortunately. Especially for us pad players, it's just so painful. It may look to us that a two-shot strategy might be the quicker way, but the pit lane loss is too significant. And Harry Palmer retires in the pit lane, so no further action there for Harry Palmer, no further race for him. Pease is in P8. He's dropped backwards in the train. There he is. He basically took those mini compound tyres a very long way, hence why he's further back in the train. He is going to make it towards the end of the Grand Prix, but will he catch the guys ahead? We'll definitely catch Ronnie. Bosch Evans maybe, but second, third and fourth or fifth, I don't think so. So I think Peace's best chance is possibly a P5, depends how big of a tyre offset he has towards the guys in front of him. And somebody's crashed. No, they haven't. It is Dory who has retired in the pit lane and left the session. But down towards 11 people as Leroy has pitted. Look at that, only 6 laps or 7 on the midi compound tyres. So a short stint and a second stint there. And I don't think he has quite paid off. So here he is in the pit lane to put on a new set of hard compound tyres. And yeah, his race has been ruined by that two-shot strategy, unfortunately for him, as he makes his way out of the pit lane. A yellow flag is down there in that section, but it shouldn't bother him whatsoever as he makes his way out of the tunnel. Surprisingly as well, here's a fact for you: nobody has crashed in that tunnel at all since the beginning of Abu Dhabi, as Nathan gets ahead of Harrison. He goes up into P2. Massive lockup, and so does the McLaren driver Harrison as well. So they both drifted to the corner there, just rear locking the brakes in towards turn 6 and turn 7. It's a massive braking zone, a lot of pressure on the brakes too. And Nathan's right behind with the DRS wide open. Harrison's behind with the DRS open. Sorry, Nathan was in the McLaren, I think, in ALR, so that's why I got a bit confused when I saw the McLaren right behind. Yeah, but surprisingly nobody has crashed in the pit lane, which is interesting to say the least. I thought somebody would become a cropper down there in towards the pit lane exit under the tunnel, but nobody has, so that's quite surprising. I think the only pit lane exit or entry to have a tunnel as well, which feeds under the track in towards the race. As lap 18 out of 29, you can definitely tell that I'm running out of things to say because there's not a lot going on right now in this race. Leroy's rejoining P10 on the hard compound tyres. What a stiff was pitting for his first pit stop, taking those hard 16 laps in the Grand Prix. And De Morse has pitted too, also with the midi compound tyres, as he'll put on the hard compound tyres to the end of the race. So Harrison has got a 3-second time penalty. Now, I didn't catch that. When did he pick it up? I must have been caught napping. Lap 16. That was 2 laps ago. So, and once again, the 100-meter board has been destroyed by Nathan. So he's got an obsession by destroying braking boards there. But yep, Harrison picked up penalty. And it's a 3-second tab to do, so Isak Kush could find himself on the podium once again. And this could be his second podium of the season too for Isak, the popular Singapore driver in this league. He didn't quite win his home Grand Prix back in season 8, I believe it was, when he got a 5-second penalty for taking out Jeroen Visser. It was Jeroen who won from P17 to P2 on that day, P1 should I say, on that day. It was Isak who had the pace to win it. He was dominant, but unfortunately, he was a bit optimistic. He rushed his way through, barged his way through, and safety cars came out too, which wiped out his lead entirely. It's a shame when things like that happen because knowing you got the pace, but things happen elsewhere, out of your control. 10 laps left to go in the Grand Prix, and it's looking good for Rosify so far. He's still going for his first win of the season, I dare say. He's taken pole back in Japan, but he's still going for his first win of the season. Missed out on a couple of occasions as well, but so far he's doing a really good job ramping up the pace. He's turned up to the max, and Harrison is fighting with Nathan JP. Nathan's got nothing to worry about now. I think he's well secured on the podium, but however, Isak Kush has dropped off the pace a little tad as well in P4. Lost a bit of time towards the second and third place, so maybe the podium could still be up for Harrison because the gap is 2.6 between himself and Nathan JB. So Harrison's chance for a podium is still there. It all depends if he's got the pace to do so. But what's happened to Isak Kush in P4? Is the tyre wear that bad? He's lost a lot of time, hasn't he? Has he broke his wing? Let's have a look to see if the Red Bull driver has his wing attached still. He does have his wing still there. So I think he's just lacking pace in general. Doesn't have the pace, does he, unfortunately, here at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. But a driver who has been relatively competitive as well in the past few games. We all know his pace. I think he's finished the podium once this season. That was back at the Bahrain Grand Prix, the very start of the season too. So yeah, as he's in the pit lane. Wow. So it's I didn't expect this, but Harrison and Isak Kush are pitted onto a set of hardcore power tyres. Wow. That is a very interesting strategy. So it's not a one stop, it's a two stop there for Harrison and Isak Kush. They believe the hardcore power tyres can't make it towards the end. And that's going to be very interesting then. So Harrison has dropped himself into P7. P's, however, could be good for a podium in P4. Bosch Evans does have a penalty to his name, but will that penalty get removed towards in the Grand Prix? By elongating that first stint on the mid-core power tyres for P's, could that pay dividends later on the Grand Prix? He's got much better tyres compared towards Bosch Evans. Look at that. The tyre difference is about 6 laps. 3, 4, 5 laps, sorry. My maths is a bit bad there. But the tyre difference is about 5 laps between those two. So I think P's could be on for a podium. Depends how much Leroy can catch him, because Leroy's in P6 on newer hards, and Isak Kush and Harrison are right there too. So this could be an interesting fight for a podium. But if Nathan's going to pit, he's going to do it right now. And if he doesn't, massive undercut. He might as well stay out there and live with those hardcore power tyres. Rectify can do whatever he wants. Literally can do whatever he wants right now. He can pit, stay out. He can stay out for like 2 laps or 3. He's definitely staying out there right now. It's all in his hands. He can do whatever he wants to, and he'll still win the Grand Prix. Nathan JB has opted to stay out those hardcore power tyres there, so there's a few tyre concerns around this circuit here, as we see people do medium hard. So that's going to be very interesting. This is going to be very interesting to see if those people in the hardcore power tyres can make it towards the end of the Grand Prix. Isak Kush fell off the pace dramatically as well, but I wonder why Harrison pitted. That's going to be a very interesting one as well, to see why he pitted. But he's right behind Leroy then on 3-lap younger tyres. Taupe is right there in P4. Do you know what? Taupe has run a decent race so far. And here comes Leroy. I'm not going to go over the move just yet, but behind him is Harrison on new hardcore power tyres. Very important for Harrison if he wants to way back towards the podium, if that's possible. I'm not quite sure. But he needs to dispatch Leroy, which he does dispatch the Haas. Next up is the Sauber driver. As we head down towards turn 6 and turn 7, Leroy won't have DRS on the exit of turn 7, so Harrison should get the jump on him with the aid of DRS and slip by him. Doesn't want to afford to waste any time because time is running out. Every single lap is crucial. But Harrison does not get past this Kick Sauber on this occasion. Stays behind him. The Kick didn't have the DRS wide open, did he? So he stays in P5. But Harrison doesn't want to spend any time behind that Sauber at all. He needs to get past quickly without losing as little time as you can, actually, as well as Diffwell gets ahead of Demorts for P9. It has been a good race in terms of strategy, I must admit, but Pease, look at that. Pease is catching Bosch Evans at a rate of knots as well, so I'm not quite sure who will get a podium. Is it Pease? Is it Harrison? Harrison does have a penalty to his name, but he has a massive tyre difference, that's the thing as well. Can he catch up? Having a huge tyre offset can be quite useful for the Grand Prix as well. So Nathan and Reservoir are committing towards the Grand Prix. There's absolutely no point those two pitting, because if they do, well, Nathan, Reservoir can, but Nathan JB, he can't pit, because if he does, he's going to rejoin way behind Leroy and Harrison, and it's going to be quite difficult to catch him as well, with the minimum amount of laps in this Grand Prix. Haven't drank any water yet so far in this race, so here comes Harrison, up into P5 ahead of Leroy. Yeah, sometimes when you're commentating, you do forget to drink water, especially when you're a solo commentator, because you're constantly talking all the way through. Very important as well, water, to hydrate and keep you warm, keep your voice in good form. Make sure it's not too dry or too sore. So P's 1.3, he should be able to get Bosch Evans. Maybe he needs to get ahead of him just in case, though. That's the thing. He needs to overtake him, because you never know if Bosch Evans can remove his penalty. And Pease is almost in DRS range of that Ferrari car in front of him. So this could be another podium for Pease. And he's had about 3 or 4 podiums this season too. So good job from Pease there. He is in DRS range right now of the Ferrari driver. And despite his retirement back at the Japanese Grand Prix, he's fought hard here. He went for a long stint on the mini compound tyres. Bosch Evans pitted. He was one of the early pitters in the Grand Prix, was Bosch Evans, in the train. But unfortunately, it seems to be biting him back. And he's got Relentless Pease right behind too. And look who's in the background, Harrison, by 3 seconds. So Pease has to get this done quickly, which he does do. Up into P3. That's very important to get this move done right now, because Harrison is right there, 3.6 seconds behind. Now Pease has been free and released. Can he use his pace and try and drop Bosch Evans and try and remain in P3? Harrison is going to catch him at a rate of knots with that big tyre difference, unless Bosch Evans comes back around the outside, but he's not too close enough to make a move on that occasion. So it should be okay then for Nathan JB. As long as his tyres can make the distance, he should be okay. He won't be caught up by anybody. It all depends on his tyres. Can they make it towards in the Grand Prix? Will they suffer a puncture? Does he have to manage at this stage, try not to take too much out of him? Look at that. Oh, for 1 second, I thought Pease picked up a 3-second tempo. That was a very odd line going towards that penultimate corner there. I'm about to say, Pease is hard work and effort to get a penalty like that as well. Such a bizarre way to pick up a 3-second penalty. As who's in the pit lane? Leroy again. Leroy is in the pit lane for a 3rd stop in this race. And yeah, his strategy has been blown out the window and he has retired. Come on, Leroy, man. At least make it towards the Grand Prix. It is so frustrating because I race in another league and I'm most at the back of the field. And it's just so easy to call it quits. But you've got to keep going. He's in the points. And look at this. Bosch Evans is fighting back. Something Pease doesn't want. And now he's back up into P3. So despite that tyre advantage, he wasn't able to break away and streak away from Bosch Evans. And now he's been demoted into P4. The last thing he needs, because Harrison's right there now, but with the DRS back of the Ferrari now, conversely, he has the advantage with the DRS. And let's see, can he get it back in towards turn 9? He can't. Maybe he can around the outside. Does he have the grip to do so? He can't do so. The Ferrari places the car at the right possible moment, preventing Pease from overtaking him, and Harrison's right there too, P5. So the battle for the podium is interesting, but the thing is though, Pease does not have a penalty. Can he keep it that way? The Ferrari's going deeper towards corners, lacking grip, and here comes Pease up the inside into towards turn. That's going to be a risky move. It is indeed. He makes it stick. He's up into P3, but Bosch Evans back down the inside into towards turn 13, and here comes McLaren driver in towards the final corner. He's up into P4, side by side to make contact as well as Bosch Evans shoots to make more contact between those two. Unbelievable. But Harrison is back up into P4. They were literally banging wheels and hugging wheels as well. Bosch Evans has been released from that too, and that camera angle was absolutely beautiful. Fantastic camera angle there from the helicopter cam. We saw everything as well. Drivers getting very feisty and aggressive, especially when the podiums on the cards. Looks like Pease and Harrison were literally holding each other's wheels there, just holding to the back of each other. And here comes Harrison then on the back of Bosch Evans. It should be no contest really, because there's a massive tyre difference between those two. And Harrison's up into P3, but I don't think Nathan is possible to get. I think he's too far away. Unless, of course, Nathan might sustain a puncher, I don't know. But Pease will be frustrated with that in P5, knowing there's a possible podium. But here comes Bosch Evans back down the inside. It's what's turn on the contact, the side by side there. And Harrison just stays ahead, but Bosch Evans goes off the track. You can see his tyres really starting to give up. Here comes Pease around the outside, in towards turn top we go. But I think Bosch Evans stays ahead for the time being. Isak Kush has retired, and a safety car has been deployed. The safety car has come out, and this completely now changes the whole trajectory of this race. And I'm pretty sure everybody back in the pit lane to dive. We love a last lap safety car, don't we? Around here in Singapore. Singapore, my bad. Abu Dhabi. Oh, a second safety car has been deployed to cause more drama and more twists and turns in towards this race. As let's see, the soft power tyres, the mediums there for Bosch Evans. I think people have run out of soft power tyres. You know what? I think a few people have run out of tyres, but Bosch Evans there, that's a new set of boots. Harrison, what tyres are those? Soft power tyres, they're new. They're brand spanking new. So he saved a set of soft power tyres in qualifying. And moments like these where they could be used in this race, which could pay dividends. But Reservoir and Nathan JB, they would definitely pit. But Reservoir will be so pissed off with that safety car coming out, because he built up so much of a margin. But he got to live with Nathan. Now Nathan has a big chance possibly to get Reservoir if he stays within DRS range on the last couple of laps. So Reservoir is in big trouble, unfortunately for him. Everything was going right so far in the Grand Prix for him, but this safety car is the last thing that he needed, because he knows Nathan and Pease will possibly be on a brand new set, well obviously be on new tyres, and they'll have a fight towards in the Grand Prix. This allows me to go to the toilet, so I'll be right back. Thank you so much, Isats, for causing that safety car. I've been busting for a piss for a long time. Ladies and gentlemen, the safety car is in at the end of this lap, and let's see what the last few laps has in store for us. DRS will be enabled on lap 29, and let's see if Nathan can pass the Reservoir. Once again, it's the top two as it was back in the British GP between Nathan and Reservoir, but this time in reverse. It's Reservoir with the advantage with Nathan, JB and P2. Which one of these two is going to win the Grand Prix? Could it be Pease in P4? He does have a penalty, of course. And this is why, Leroy, you don't retire from a race. You stay in it, especially when you're in a good position. Leroy, unfortunately, quit from this race. trying to get every single bit of temperature left in the tyres, and he goes right now. Reservoir has pulled the plug, and he goes racing once again. It's him who leads from Nathan JB in P2. Harrison's in P3 right there. Nathan get a bit detached from Reservoir. Didn't have the best restart, did he? Got caught napping by Reservoir, and that's good because Reservoir there unorthodox restart, because I think he went unexpectedly, went off the drivers unexpected there, so that's good. 8/10 gap, but can he build it up? Can Nathan JB get himself on that second of DRS? If he can't, then Reservoir's done a beautiful job to bring that gap up over a second if he can. The gap is 9/10 of a second, but Nathan surely will be using his battery. Got Harrison right behind. That's the last thing Nathan needs. McLaren driver right behind too as we head down towards turn 6 and turn 7. Is McLaren go down the inside? I don't think he will on this occasion, but Pease knows there's a big chance for a podium now because Harrison and Pease are on the same tyres effectively now, but Reservoir is 1.3 away. Ahead, shall I say. And here comes McLaren driver side by side with Nathan JB. Nathan has no response. He's up into P2 ahead. And here comes, look at that. Here comes Pease now fighting for P3 with Nathan JB. Let's see how it goes between those two. And Pease is right behind the RP driver. The RP is really struggling for grip. I wonder if those are qualifying tyres. Down he is, and he goes into towards turn number 11 we go. And Nathan there just stays ahead of Pease for the time being. But Nathan, you can see he's really struggling with the grip of the car. I think these are his tyres he used in qualifying, of course. So I don't think he has an extra set of tyres as he heads towards the final corner. Has understeer, goes off the track as well to Nathan JB. Look, he's not getting a penalty, but Pete is right behind him too. Bosch Evans is there to pounce. Toby's in P6. DRS has been enabled on the final lap of the race, and so far it's a battle brewing up between first and second. The gap is 7/10 of a second there. Harrison is in DRS range of Reservoir, but of course we know that Harrison has a 3-second penalty. But the battle for the podium between Pease and Nathan is looking well and truly alive so far in this race. Can Pease claim P2 in this race, or P3 shall I say? Nathan's about to be knocked off the podium, I think, but here he is with the DRS wide open. Nathan good defensive. Pease goes around the outside as we head down in towards turn 6 and turn 7. Contact between those two. Pease locks up, goes deep in the corner. Here comes Nathan, more contact as well. Pease just stays ahead for the time being. Gets a much butter exit there. Then Nathan JB. And Nathan's been left exposed now towards Bosch Evans. And the battle of the lead is on between Reservoir. As here comes Harrison around the outside in towards turn 9. He takes the lead of the Grand Prix, but in the background, who's that as well? As Pease goes through Bosch Evans. Nathan's been overtaken and swamped by those guys. But here comes Bosch Evans there, side by side with Pease. In towards the slow speed cars we go. In towards the final set. So we go. Contact between those two there. There's Bosch Evans up the inside almost as he backs off for the time being there. Pease up into P3, but here comes Harrison now as he makes his way towards the final corner. He won't win the Grand Prix due to penalties, but Reservoir will come across the line to win here at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix as Pease will finish in P3, and Nathan has been knocked off the podium. Harrison has done enough to finish on the podium, so he pushed so hard on the final lap and still remains on the podium. Nathan was second place majority of the race, but unfortunately at the end of it did not get a podium. Quite surprisingly as well. Pease, mega job from the Mercedes driver there. Very impressive. It got a bit hectic, I must say. A bit dramatic in towards the final laps of the Grand Prix, but that's what happens under a safety car here in Abu Dhabi. Always is. But that concludes the race, and Reservoir finally wins the race, and I don't think he'll be happy with me because I want to go right now. So I'm going to go. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Massive appreciated for those guys who tune in, and I'll see you all for the next race at the Barcelona Grand Prix in Spain. See you all later, and goodbye for now. Good, and well done to Reservoir, well done to Pease and Harrison.